we've got the Senate Republican Judiciary Committee member, Lindsey Graham, here. I'm telling you, Senator, it is odd. I mean, markets abhor uncertainty, but now we obviously you had to get the Mueller office to clarify and state its case against Flynn, that they didn't force him into lying, he just lied. And that did seem to rattle folks. What do you think?
Well, number one, this was all post-election intrigue. I don't know why it's a crime to talk to the Russians when you're in transition. I guess it's a crime to lie about talking to the Russians when you're in the transition from one administration to the next. So if you're looking for the big picture, no evidence of collusion by the Trump campaign during the campaign with anything Russia thus far. And if they'd had it, Flynn would have known about it. They would have charged him with it. So if I'm the Trump people, I'm thinking this is all process stuff.
All right. So a lot of the stuff that goes against this is whether Flynn at the time, getting ready to become national security advisor, was misrepresenting himself. You're arguing that even if he did, or even if he lied, or even if people forced him to lie, as he said, which seems to be repudiated by the Mueller folks, the fact of the matter was the election was done, it was settled, and
it's got nothing to do. Well, the whole purpose of Mueller being around is to find out, did the Trump campaign get an advantage from colluding with the Russians, from stolen emails from the DNC and Podesta? The answer thus far is no. But the one thing that jumps out at me is that they phoned in the Clinton investigation. They were in the tank for her. They hated Trump. They liked her. They wanted an insurance policy. And the same folks that were in the tank for Clinton are the ones on the trail of Flynn and all the Trump folks. There's a certain unevenness here about how you investigate campaigns.
No, you certainly might be right about that potential.
That
but I'm wondering,
me.
One of the things that we learned from Bob Mueller on the Michael Flynn thing is that nothing about the way the interview was arranged or conducted caused the defendant, again, Michael Flynn, to make false statements to the FBI. Mueller goes on to state and clarify that the seriousness of Flynn's offense cannot be called into question. What do you think?
Well, here's what I call into question, the tactics. They did a sit-down interview with Hillary Clinton, unrecorded, right? They never flipped anybody in the Clinton investigation to try to find out what happened with the Clinton Foundation and Uranium One. There was no effort to squeeze anybody. As a matter of fact, everybody got kid glove treatment. Now, when you look at everything Trump, Flynn included, it was a real all hands on deck, whatever we need to do to find out what happened, confidential informants, counterintelligence investigations, and not a finger lifted against the Clinton.
You might be right. We don't know the details of that and whether they did handle one case very differently than the other.
Yeah, we do. They did handle one case differently than the other.
Do you think there is a double standard
100%.
here? But do you think that when it comes to this, the president has misrepresented this? In Michael Cohen's case, talking to George Stephanopoulos earlier today, he said that the president isn't telling the truth, that the president knew about these hush money payments to these women.
So now we're flipping from Russia to campaign finance.
But the underlying theme being misrepresentation, potentially lying.
Okay, so the underlying theme of the Mueller investigation is, were there any effort by the Trump campaign to work with the Russians to change the outcome of the election? Thus far, no. When it comes to campaign finance law violations, you have Cohen, you'll have Stormy Daniels, a Playboy model, and Avenatti against Trump. Now, be my guest if that's where you want to go. I never, advocate violating the law, but from Trump's point of view, he's done non-disclosure agreements before to protect his family and his brand. So
I don't know. That's what he did here.
I don't know, but I know this: it ain't got a damn thing to do with Russia. And I'm not saying, I'm not excusing it, but we're talking about sex. We're talking about Stormy Daniels, Michael Avenatti, and a Playboy bunny as your chief witnesses. Now, if you want to make that the centerpiece of 2019, be my guest.
All right, so help me with this, Senator. One of the things that's come up, and Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer, had said, he insists that he did not say, when he was earlier reported to have said, that hush money payments aren't a big deal. But if Donald Trump did initiate or did tell Michael Cohen to write those checks, would that be a big deal to you?
Well, it'd be a campaign finance violation in theory. campaign finance violations have never been used to impeach anybody. Obama failed to report $8 million worth of contributions, and he got a fine. So I'm just saying, what's the big deal to me? Did Trump collude with the Russians? And if he didn't, I'll put everything else in perspective. If you want to impeach the president over the Stormy Daniels thing, you can if you choose to. We tried this with Clinton. It started out with some bad business deals. Sexual harassment lawsuits are always about sex. You don't want the most important person in the world, the president, undermining the legal system. That's what it was about to me. If you think that this is worthy of impeachment in the House, go ahead. I think most Americans probably won't agree with you.
All right. So just to put a bow on this for now, because we have other things I do want to talk about, the sell-off and the China situation, Saudi Arabia, something you're doing. But much is made about whether, if you do approve of payments like this, and you are running for president of the United States, and you time it in the middle of an election year, whether they're campaign funds or not. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if you are.
Well, these were, yeah.
All right. So I defer to your legal expertise. That is a very slippery slope if the president knew.
Well, all I can say, there weren't campaign funds. They tried this with John Edwards. He had a mistress. She had a child. She got money. They saying you're using money from the campaign to silence her, to benefit your campaign, and went to a trial, hung jury, and acquittal. This is Trump's own money to pay somebody making a claim he denies. He has done this in the past. Famous people find themselves in this box all the time. I don't know.
What makes it different? It's here, I guess. He's
a candidate. He's a candidate.
He might
Absolutely.
It would be seen as maybe trying to influence the election.
You got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt under campaign finance law that the only reason the payment was made was to benefit the campaign. If there's some alternative reason, then you'll have a hard time proving that case. But if they want to do this, they can. It's still a campaign finance violation. Doesn't have a damn thing to do with Russia.
All right. Do you believe everything the president has said on these subjects?
No. I don't. No. You know, he's always under siege. You know, he's saying this one minute and that the next. It's what he does that matters. He's like every other person. You know, Bill Clinton lied about having sexual relationships with that woman. I voted against that article of impeachment because I think most people, blindsided, would lie to protect their family. I'm the one Republican that voted against that article of impeachment because I think the average person in that circumstance would be compelled to lie. Did Trump do some of this? I don't know, but if he did, I can at least understand.
Yeah, I think you were famous at the time for saying, I have a different definition of high crimes and misdemeanors or something.
Yeah, lying about sex wasn't enough then for me, and it's not enough now.
You parted with the president on this stuff, but more on the Saudi Arabia situation, that his response has been poor. You led an effort in the Senate to say we've got to stop our support of the Saudis in this war in Yemen. Tens of thousands have gotten killed. The president has said he's still waiting to get more proof that the Saudi prince was behind the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. You have no doubt.
I don't know what happened with Stormy Daniels, but I know what happened with MBS. Those 15 people left Saudi Arabia did so under the command and direction of MBS, who had been focusing on Khashoggi as a critic for 2 years. He's renditioned people. He's taken people from other countries, Saudi citizens, brought them back to Saudi Arabia to abuse them. This is a pattern for him. He did it. He knew about it. Couldn't happen without his knowledge. I'm not going to forgive it. Big deal. We need to come down hard, because if we don't, we're opening up Pandora's box.
So when the president doesn't move on this, and he has stood by the Saudi prince, and then you hear yesterday the Saudis want to curtail oil production, regardless of whether
there's a glut of the market right now.
Right, and they obviously want to lift the price. They could lift the price on us, but that's a heck of a thank you to the president who's trying to stand by him. Right?
Number one, they're going to sell oil or they will starve. They're going to do what's best for the Saudi economy, which is oil-based. Weapons. I'm worried that this guy is crazy enough to kill a journalist in a consulate in Turkey. Why would you give that guy weapons that he may give to the Russians or the Chinese? As long as MBS is around, I'm not going to deal with Saudi Arabia as a normal relationship, because there's nothing normal about him.
So you wouldn't even deal with them on anything?
They need us 1,000 times more than we need them. they would be speaking Farsi in a week.
Have you told this to the president?
Yeah.
And what does he tell
I'm
you?
telling it to him right now.
What does he say?
Well, he's the president. He's got to think about these things differently. The Congress took Bush on about detainee policy, and we came up with the Detainee Treatment Act. Obama didn't want to do anything against the Iranian regime, but we went ahead and sanctioned Iran. Every now and then, Congress goes its own way. I like the president. He's right about the strategic relationship being important. I think he's wrong to believe that MBS, we can ignore what he did. It undercuts the relationship.
But it sounds like he will not do that.
Who? The president? The Congress will. What we're going to do is we're going to stop sales to Saudi Arabia of equipment until something changes, until the people held accountable for killing this man are actually held accountable.
All right, let me switch gears very quickly on the whole impasse over the wall, $5 billion for the wall. You had said, referring to Democrats, that they want Trump to lose more than the USA to win. Would you, Senator Lindsey Graham, then be okay to force a shutdown if that $5 billion wasn't made available?
I am more than okay for the president to make a reasonable request of the Congress and stick to his guns. He ran on securing our border. The Democrats all voted, 44 of them did, in February of 2018, this year, for $25 billion for the wall as part of a larger deal. Now they won't give him $5 billion that could be well spent. This is arrogance on their part. They hate Trump. They're overreading their mandate. And if
we're separated by what, $3.5 billion, right? There must be a way to solve this.
The Senate has
putting the government on the brink, right?
Senate has appropriated 1.6. He wants 3.4.
Right.
If after the caravan you don't see the need for more border security, you're crazy, because most Americans believe we need more money to secure our border, not less.
So you're
after
Lindsey
the
Graham
caravan.
saying, just want to be clear, sir, that you either get that $5 billion or
Take it to the people.
We should shut it down.
Take it to the people. 75% of the government is funded. You got to deal with these folks next year. They're doing this out of spite. They hate Trump more than they want the country to win, in my view. And if you don't deal with it now, it gets worse later. Mr. President, you're on the right side of this issue. $3.4 billion is the delta in a $3 trillion budget. That's not unreasonable. The Democrats have voted for far more than that. They're doing this just out of political spite. Dig in and take this to the people. You will win. We have your back.
Senator, apparently Chris Christie expressed zero interest in wanting to be the president's chief of staff. A number of other people have apparently passed up the opportunity. What do you think's going on?
I don't know. All I can say is that the president needs to pick somebody with some political good instincts. It's a political job. John Kelly was an American hero. He brought order to chaos. I'll miss him. He's a wonderful man. Jared Kushner's being mentioned. Jared is politically really smart. This criminal justice bill, if it gets over the line, which I think it will, it'd be due to Jared. So he needs to pick somebody he trusts, that understands where the president's taking the country, and can work with others. And a person like Jared could do that, but he's got other good choices.
All right. Apparently, this is dragging on a while, and it's unusual to get this many declines. What does that tell you?
Well, I think Chris Christie wants to do something else.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard job.
Would you ever want it?
No. I mean, I like being the senator from South Carolina. But the next chief of staff is going to have to ride herd over a Congress that is really out to get the president from the House point of view. A lot of incoming legal problems. So you need somebody who's mature, has the president's best interests at heart. It'll be a tough job, but anybody who's willing to take it, it'll be a very rewarding job, because you get a chance to make history.
You do, and you age quickly. All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, great seeing you. Good.
Thank you.
Enjoy New York City while you're here.
Yes.